Hey, this is Cameron, and welcome to the practice log. It's another night session, as you can see. Oh man. Alright, well, let's go ahead and get seated, and we will jump into the stuff. We need to get focused with the kind of practice that we're doing. I am going to start this one off with Morel Movement 2, and I'm going to try to cover new grounds with that. And then we're going to go through all of the Morel after that. And then the Latin pieces, of course, and I think I might try adding in a new Latin piece. I don't know if I'll do it today, but there's that famous Targa tremolo piece. I forget the name of it. I should know it. Recuerdos de la Alhambra? Alhambra? What's up? Yeah, so you know the one. It's that one. I've worked on it a bit before, but I feel like that'll be good for me to just maybe get my A into better shape. I haven't worked on a tremolo piece in some time. I'm gonna lump that in with the Latin pieces. Latin and technique. We'll call it that. I've been taking this time to answer comment questions, so let's take a look at the comments section. Now, I feel like I do need to address this. You guys have left some very nice comments on my Rough Ones videos. So that's very nice. Thank you to everybody who did. It seems that all of your sentiments are, it's cool to show up, but look after your mental health and all that, which I agree with, and I hope you all do that too. But I will say, making these videos, I find that they also put me in a good mood. Like once I sit down in the chair and just start rambling, it's kind of nice to do that. But it's not all hard work. It's stuff that I enjoy. So, even if I'm in a bad mood, it's still not like that bad. So this is a really nice one from MWO486. What's up? How's it going? He said, "Hi Cameron. As one who's been playing guitar steadily for 50 plus years, I just want to encourage you to be good to yourself first." Yes, and that's very important. If it means you need to take a day off of doing videos or even practicing to regroup, that is just fine. And I assure you, I have. I have not been practicing nearly as much. I haven't touched a guitar in 3 days, which again, that's like very unusual. I have been doing that, just regrouping. I've been watching a lot of TV. After some time of doing that, I really feel the need to start playing guitar again, and that's kind of where I am now. Oh, I shaved my beard too. I'm really sorry to everybody who was counting on me to not shave my beard, because I promised that I wouldn't. I promise you the hair will stay though, don't worry. The hair is gonna grow out all year. But the beard, it was getting time. I was looking at pictures of myself and I was like, is this who I want to be at this stage in my life? And I think the answer is no right now. There will come a stage where I am the guy with the huge beard. Maybe when I'm like late 30s beyond, but for now, we're gonna trim it up, keep it a little tighter. So that's what that is. Sorry, everybody. And you also said you've got a long time to do this. The key is to stick with it over a great span of time. Yes, exactly. And that's really good advice. And that's the same advice I would give to anybody else. It's all about the consistency. There can be gaps in consistency, and they are just a drop in the bucket when you make it your habit of practicing all the time. Over Christmas, I took 10 days off, basically. I think I practiced guitar like 3 times over the course of 10 days. And when I filmed my first log after that, nothing had changed. I think my memory was actually more solid. Everything just kind of like set. So I'm not worried about that. Be sure to always appreciate when times are good. When it comes to stuff like this, I've always lived by the philosophy of get while the getting is good. And like an example of that is like when I started teaching online. This was during like COVID when everybody was in their home all day. I would open up my schedule and it would fill. So I made a point that every time my schedule got filled, I would always open up new spots and I would refuse nobody. And then I ended up with 86 students at my height. Obviously that's like an unhealthy amount of students to have every week, but doing that set me up for the future because I got a lot of teaching experience and I was able to save money. And now I bet you, not that I would ever try, but I bet if I opened up my schedule fully, I probably wouldn't get 86 students nowadays, just because less people are open to online lessons. So I'm really glad that there was like a year of my life where I got while the getting was good. So I encourage you to do that. You don't always need to be on the grind. Like I'm not really grinding right now. I have like 45 students and then I just make YouTube videos and practice. But if you're given an opportunity to grind for a little bit, you should probably take it. That's usually a good idea. And then if there's no opportunity to grind, don't worry about it. Just be open to the possibility of grinding if it should arise. So for the past week, I have not been grinding. I've been chilling and eating chips in my bed and watching crappy TV. And then this is nice. I very much appreciate what you're doing and it motivates me to continue down the road that we are both on. Best of luck to you and may you have good days ahead. That's very kind. I hope I have good days ahead too, and I know that I will, because there'll be a day I memorize that Adagio. There'll be a day I memorize the Morel Sonata. That'll be a good day. Yeah, man, and it's just this journey. We're just going down this journey. Sometimes we slow down, sometimes we speed up. All right, and then one more nice one. This one is from Seeming Music. Yo! What's up? You opened it with yo, that's why I said that. I know you always pride yourself for showing up even if you're not in the mood, which I do, but it definitely is important you look after your mind as much as your hands. Well, I barely look after my hands, so if I look after my mind less than my hands, we're in bad shape. Remember my warm-up routine that I said? Where I just don't warm up? Yeah, I know. I'm just messing around. Wishing you all the best, buddy. Thank you, Seeming Music. Lots of nice comments. I do enjoy those. My message is not that you should always show up and make progress. If you choose guitar as like something that you're gonna do, what I hope that you do, even if you're going through something like what I'm going through or something much worse, because so much worse can happen to you. So much worse. Just make the decision when you wake up. Am I going to practice guitar today? Just have it be like a question that flicks in your mind. And if it's an immediate no, then it's no. You're not gonna play that day. Days, weeks can go by like that where you're just always answering no if something devastating is happening to you. And I think that that is a completely reasonable way to continue your practice through anything. There will be a day eventually where the answer is yes, and you'll practice. Every day, twice a day, I ask myself that question. So that's 14 opportunities in total. I took 4 of them, which honestly, that's not even that bad. And you can take 0 of them, and the next week you might take 1 of them, and that's totally fine. Like, as long as you're persistent with it. I think it's about time I actually get to that piano bench. Ooh, it's a little scary. I haven't been there in a little bit. All right. Well, I'll see you there. Well, I go to practice and the first thing I'm greeted to is a dead Kindle. So I need to let that charge. Instead of starting with movement 2, I'm going to start with movement 1. I'm going to play from memory and I'll just warm up with that. Give it like 10 minutes and then I will jump into movement 2 where I will spend the majority of my time here, hopefully. All right, well, I'll see you on the other side. I think I'm ready to play something for you. So, let me bring you closer. So, I've never listened to the second movement before. So hearing it today for the first time, I almost started crying because it is very beautiful. You know, you'll hear that. All right. In the second section there, and a little bit in the first section, there's some mess ups. That's my first time ever hearing or playing that second section. So you'll hear it in another 4 or 5 logs or so, and hopefully it'll be much better, and maybe I'll have even more of it. We'll see. Alright, well, we did that. Well, guess what? We have a documentary to finish. So let's go ahead and make our way to the computer, shall we? I said that we have a documentary to finish. Look at how far we've made it into this. A 4th at best. Let's keep going.
And as soon as we got into the airplane and we took off, I just realized that the fear was lifted.
Alright, so where we left off, he is escaping Cuba, and he felt euphoric, in his own words. He felt euphoric quite a bit.
You know, I no longer fear that something would happen to my mother, or something would happen to me. There was a period of euphoria.
There it is. Yeah, dude. Let's get euphoric tonight, guys.
And we landed, and I started to see some family members I hadn't seen in a long time. I would say quite, sort of a happy period for me. Small neighborhood that was basically being settled by Cuban immigrants. And
my parents might have lived there, man.
My aunt was next to us. My uncle was a couple of blocks down. My uncle. So it was like a big house, the neighborhood, and I really had a great time. But that was not gonna last. We were there for about 7-8 months, and then we left Miami.
Oh, hate to leave Miami, man. Miami.
Of course, we came to the U.S. and we were not allowed to take anything. Not a guitar, not a set of strings, not anything.
If you have to smuggle a guitar, where do you hide it, guys? Sorry. I would hide it in my pants.
My teacher in Cuba told me when I came to Miami to go see his teacher. Her name was Fela Gonzalez, and she was a well-known lady in the guitar circles in Havana. And Segovia, for example, stayed in her house when he would come to Cuba. So I went to see her. This grand lady was living in this small apartment in Miami, and I played for her. And after I played, she came and she threw herself at my feet, and she was kissing my hands, and I just couldn't believe what I was seeing, and my cousin, I just looked at him, we looked at each other like, what is this?
You must have been playing pretty good. That's someone who's just had crappy students her whole life. I kind of get where she's coming from. And you finally get Manuel Barrueco. Oh my god, I need to learn how to say his name. This is bad. What episode of this are we on? My god. It's like a Cuban name, too. Do I sound like a Cuban, guys? Where does it sound like I'm from? Can you guys tell me?
Pronouncenames.com.
Barrueco.
Barrueco. I can't roll my R's at all, guys. Barrueco. Manuel Barrueco. That's what I'm gonna call him here.
So people could hear me, and one of the people that came was Juan Mercadal, one of the most famous Cuban guitarists, the guitar teacher at the University of Miami. And Mercadal, he just basically took me in, and he taught me for all the time that I was in Miami. He never charged a cent. My father did not want to stay in Miami. He wanted to go up north to the New York area. He thought there were more possibilities for work. Apparently, the family in Miami insisted so much that we stay there that they gave in and they stayed there. This is the way I understand it. My father was told in Miami that there would be no future for me as a guitarist in Miami, and that if I was taken up north, I think the words were that I would be known as one of the best players, top 4 players or something like that.
Top 4 is pretty good. I could live with that.
The next thing I know, we were coming up north. I think the reason why my father chose Newark was because he already had a sister that was living there. It was from there that he started looking for a job. But I remember going into Newark for the first time was not a good impression. We were greeted by somebody throwing a bottles at us in the car, and to be honest, I found the place depressing.
The north, the city. The city is super depressing. I don't know if you lived in a city in the north. I live in a city, and I kind of hate it. I want to move. It's just dirty, and there's just a bunch of people, and I don't really like that. And it's so loud. I mean, you always hear stuff, like when I'm trying to play for you. You'll hear like sirens and people yelling and all that. There's a person almost every night at like 2 a.m. who just walks the street here and just yells for like an hour. It's crazy, man. And there's a whole narrative on like homeless people. America does not take care of anybody, so they are victims out there. But I'm just saying, even with the crappy care that America has, if you live in the country, there will never be people yelling outside. And if there are, that's like really bad. At least in the country, it's not ambiguous if you're in danger or not, because there shouldn't be people out there if you're like living in a plot of land or something. Whatever.
I went to a couple of high schools, the last one being Arts High. I first went to a regular high school in Newark, and it seemed to me that lunch hour meant, the Italian kids and the black kids wanted to kill each other. There were a lot of gangs in the area. It was a rough area. Okay, this is high school that I went to for the 9th and 10th grade.
Oh, dude, I bet he kills that high school reunion. That's like the dream, to be Manuel Barrueco and go to your high school reunion. Just rub it in their faces. Oh, yeah. You guys know what I'm talking about. We're all musicians here. We weren't like the super cool kids. Don't pretend. Don't pretend with me right now. Though we are guitarists, which, like, that helps. It doesn't always help. Sometimes it doesn't help.
But I still didn't speak English well, and I struggled there. And one of the most difficult experiences was, for example, being asked to read Shakespeare out loud in an English class when I couldn't pronounce the things. I didn't know what I was saying.
Yeah, I can barely pronounce that. You guys hear me trying to read your comments sometimes. I'm like, bup, 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 bup. If you knew me in high school, you remember me reading Shakespeare out loud. It wasn't pretty.
Having other kids, sort of laugh at you.
You know who you are.
I hated living there. I didn't have much support system, when it came to the guitar. Obviously, I was very unhappy. Pressure or feeling that a lot of the reasons why we were there instead of in Miami was because of the guitar. So I told my father, if we are here because of the guitar, I'm not playing anymore. And that was really the decision that I made. It was a decision. I told him, if we're here because of that, I'm not playing. So I didn't play.
Dude, there's that mug. That's the image they decided to pick for this as a thumbnail.
Time came to go to college. When I came, for example, to audition here at the Peabody, and Aaron Shearer talked to me, and he basically was telling me, that he wanted me to come here. I explained to him that I had not played the guitar for at least 1.5 years or 2 years, and I didn't know what would happen because I really didn't feel like playing. And he said, well, it doesn't matter, you come. And what happened was that I won, and I guess I became rebellious, or maybe some things in me just came out. All I did was really basically party the whole time, and I didn't practice the guitar. It was, I would do it maybe a half hour before the lessons or so, which is frustrating.
Oh, yeah, dude. I've been there. Dude, he's living like the loser lifestyle. I respect that. That should give all of us hope. That is the kind of student he was.
I think his approach was, he was trying to get me enthused about it. He wanted to have like 2-3 lessons a week, and he would talk to me about being a scholar and learning about the guitar, but I just was not into it.
We needed to hear that right now. Heck yeah, dude. Screw the guitar. Stop playing it for like 1.5 years. Dang, 1.5 years break. And when he took that break when he was like 16 and a half or whatever, he was probably still better than all of us. That's pretty crazy that he did that. That's very interesting.
He was the right person for me. It was like walking into a wall, People all my life had been telling me, I should be a musician, I should do this and that, but nobody was really giving me anything to work against, and he did, So whether it was by my doing some of the things that he said, or by rebelling against him that stimulated me to go ahead and find other ways to do things.
By the time I got there, he was starting to find his own way, realized that he was going to be his own guitarist pretty soon. So he was, at that point, starting to practice pretty regularly.
Good for him. Good on him, man.
I came to realize that there was a wall between the guitar and me, but I didn't know what that wall was. But I decided I would pretend the wall wasn't there, and I would begin to practice it, which is really painful. And I decided I would set some goals, with the guitar and see what would happen.
Dude, he sounds like a 1-year student right now. What am I hearing? Like, I would try to practice, and it was painful, and that's interesting.
Well, I would continue. If not, I would just hang it up.
Okay.
And then his 4th year came along, which was the year that I showed up. Things started to gather momentum. And there was already a buzz. You could feel it.
The Peabody concerto competition in the school, and I won.
Dude, he's playing like Thunderstruck right now? What is this?
So I got to play with the Peabody Symphony, which was a scary moment for me. I did the Concert Artist Guild in New York, and I won that.
This guy just like barely practices and he's just awesome. What is happening right now? See, that's the thing. Usually people lie about how much they practice. Like, you always hear that. Ask any guitarist how much they practice and they'll tell you 4 hours at least, right? This dude's like, I practice like 30 minutes, like if I feel like it. Yeah, okay. I think he might be underselling how much he practiced. I don't believe that he struggled that much to practice. I mean, it seems like he has spent a pretty good amount of time practicing. So let's go ahead and end it here. Come on. All right, well, hopefully you enjoyed that. And if you did and made it this far, be sure to subscribe, leave a like, all that stuff. And if you have any questions about anything, be sure to leave it as a comment and I will answer it at some point. Or if you have anything to say at all, that's fine too. Yeah, this is a pretty interesting one. I'm glad that we're learning more about Manuel Barrueco. He's got a pretty interesting story. He probably has the most interesting story of a lot of the people that we've seen so far, which would just be Julian Ream and John Williams mainly. All right, well, it's time for me to wrap this one up. So I'll see you tomorrow.